I'm Miss Elisa with St. Mary's County Library, and welcome to the very last Pint-Sized Playtime. So today's Pint-Sized Playtime is going to be a little different. Instead of bringing you 5 new sensory play ideas for babies and toddlers, I want to look back over the past year and pick out my top 10 favorite sensory activities that I've brought you. This is definitely not the end of sensory play programs at the library. I'm super excited to be bringing you a virtual mini Monet next month. To be a part of that, all you need to do is register on our website to receive a kit with tons of different sensory play materials. So let's jump into my top 10 favorite sensory activities that I've brought you over the past year. These are definitely not in order. It was hard enough for me to pick my top 10 favorites. I definitely could not rank them because I just love all of them so much. First up, we have the very first activity I ever brought you, and that is ice cube or popsicle paints. I love these because it's so great for the warmer months. It's a great way for your baby to play with temperature, but also paint in a totally new and cool way. So to make popsicle paints, you'll need ice cube tray, some food coloring, some popsicle sticks, and some paper to paint on, of course. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna fill up your ice cube trays with water. I would recommend filling it to about halfway to 3/4 of the way, just to make sure that none of your colors bleed into one another, but also to be sure you have enough of the actual ice cube to freeze to the popsicle stick. So just mix in the food coloring with your popsicle stick. I like to put them in at an angle, all facing the same way, because they fit into my freezer a little bit better that way. And then you're just gonna pop them in the freezer and freeze them overnight. When you're all ready to start playing, you're gonna pull them out of the freezer, and I would recommend about 10 to 15 minutes to let them thaw a little bit. If you immediately start trying to paint with them right out of the freezer, they don't have enough payoff, really. So I would let them melt a little bit, or just expect that at first you're not gonna get a lot of color payoff when you start to paint. Talk to your little one about, how cold it is, how different this is from normal painting, or just let them go crazy, get in there, and really encourage them to go a little wild with the ice cube paints because it is so different from normal painting. Next up, we have shaving cream bags. This one is a lot less messy than the popsicle paints, but it's still a super fun, really interesting sensory experience for your child. To make a shaving cream bag, all you'll need is a gallon-sized Ziploc bag. Other baggy sizes work too. The gallon size just gives you more area to work with and play with. So all you're gonna do is you're gonna fill up your baggie with about halfway with shaving cream. After you have the shaving cream in the bag, you're going to add your food coloring. You can add one color, you can add multiple colors. Multiple colors gets a little tricky because they tend to not mix that well, and they will make like a muddy brown color with the base of whatever colors you put in. I would recommend one color, but totally experiment with that. And after you have your shaving cream and your food coloring in there, you're going to get all of the air out of the bag. I did not get all of the air out of my bag, and I definitely had some hiccups. It just doesn't work quite as well when you start to play with the bag if you don't get all the air out. After you get all the air out, you're going to seal it, and then you're going to tape the edge just as an extra security measure. Getting all the air out does prevent explosions of shaving cream everywhere, but taping that end up really is just an extra security measure to make you feel a little bit better. Now, just let your child squish and shake and get all of that food coloring distributed into that shaving cream, and that is step 1. After that, they can take their finger or even a Q-tip and start drawing in the shaving cream. So it's kind of like mess-free finger paints. Next up, we have dyed rice and spaghetti. I love this because it takes a super common household item and makes it kind of fun and different. Dyed spaghetti can be used in sensory bins or just be played with completely by itself because it does have quite a different texture. The dyed rice is great because you can use it in sensory bins, in sensory bottles, in sensory jars. I think I've used sensory rice in a bunch of different ways over the past year, but it really has unlimited possibilities, and it's just kind of fun and different to see that colorful rice at play. To dye your rice, you're going to need some Tupperware containers or Ziploc bags. I took half a cup of rice in each of my Tupperware. I did half a teaspoon of vinegar in each of them. And then I just picked the food coloring that I wanted to use and kind of went to town dyeing the rice. I put a lot of food coloring in each because I wanted a really deep, rich color. I put my purple in one Tupperware and my red and yellow to make orange in another Tupperware, and then I just shook the Tupperware until all of the rice was dyed. Next, I took a baking sheet and laid out some paper towels and laid out my rice in a thin layer. I put this in the sun and it did take about an hour, so I would definitely encourage you to do this as ahead of time as possible just to make sure your rice dries well. Next up, this was from my Valentine's Day video, but these are great all year. You don't have to cut them into hearts, but these were my sensory hearts. I love these because I think that's a really cool way to provide contrast between textures for your child. You obviously don't have to cut them into hearts. You can cut them into squares, into circles, but to make the sensory hearts, you will need... I just took some pink and red cardstock and cut out some hearts. And then you're just gonna make each of the hearts a different texture. So for mine, I took some sandpaper, I cut the sandpaper out roughly the same size as the cardstock and glued it together. Then I took some aluminum foil, cut it out, and then just folded it around the edge of the heart. I cut out some foam and glued it to the cardstock. I added some glitter glue, which was super fun, and then you just let that dry, so that's a different texture. I took a glue stick and covered my cardstock in it and then put it in some sand. I took some masking tape and just put little masking tape circles all over the cardstock. I glued some yarn on. I took some pom-poms and just glued those around the hearts. And I took a tissue and just ripped it into pieces and then glued it onto the cardstock. Going along with that, this next one was from my winter ideas. So this is contact paper snowmen, but obviously you don't have to build snowmen. You can pretty much use this all year. It's a great mess-free activity, and it's just a fun, different way to play, especially when you're stuck inside during those winter months, but you can definitely do it on a hot day when your children are sick of playing outside and they want something to do inside. This is a great tactile activity for them. To make contact paper snowmen, you will need seal or contact paper, and you're going to put it on a window. From there, you're going to take some cotton balls, some Q-tips, cut some Q-tips in half, maybe use some yarn, and you're gonna build snowmen with your cotton balls. So you can do that by just stacking 3 cotton balls on top of each other and, you know, adding a yarn scarf. You can also have your child pull apart the cotton ball and put it onto the press and seal and make a snowman that way. You can use the Q-tips for arms. You can also make snowflakes with the Q-tips. This next idea came from my Thanksgiving ideas video. I drew corn on the baggies to be festive, but you can honestly use any shape, any picture that you want. The main thing is that your child is able to push the corn kernels or the buttons or the beans or whatever you have through the hair gel to count up the different items into the correct slot. To make this activity, you will need a gallon-sized Ziploc bag, some nail polish remover and a cotton pad or a paper towel, a Sharpie, some aloe vera gel or hair gel. I would actually recommend hair gel over the aloe vera just because hair gel does tend to be clear, so you will be able to see through it better, and some popcorn kernels. So you're going to take your gallon-sized bag and your nail polish remover and you're going to take off that label. It does come off super easily with a little bit of nail polish remover, and then you have a clear unmarked bag. Next up, you're just going to draw your corn cobs all over the bag, and you can get as many as you can fit on here. I drew mine a little bit too big, so I was only able to get 6 corn cobs. I was aiming for 10, but obviously that did not work out for me. After you draw on your corn cobs, you are going to put some water and your gel product in the bag. I didn't measure this. You kind of want it to be about half and half, gel to water, and you can obviously add more gel if you need it to be thicker or more water if you'd like it to be thinner. Then you're going to place your corn kernels in and get all of your air out. The amount of corn kernels you need depends on the amount of corn cobs you are able to fit on your plastic bag. I was only able to fit 6 corn cobs, so I needed 21 corn kernels. You can just dump a bunch in there, it doesn't really matter, but as long as you have enough to move the corn kernels around. Next up, we have my balloon sensory toys. These are great because all you really need are balloons and anything to fill them. It really doesn't matter, whatever you have lying around, they're super versatile. But what's great about these is not only do they create a really fun tactile experience, you can also play a matching game. And this matching game I talked about in my Valentine's Day video, so I used pink and red balloons, but as usual, it really doesn't matter what colors you use. You can play this game whenever. It's all about having your child play with the balloon and let them decide which 2 balloons match. You'll just fill 2 with rice, 2 with sand, 2 with hair gel, 2 with water, 2 with beans, 2 with flour, kinetic sand, glue, beads, soap. There are so many different things that you could fill the sensory balloons with. You can choose whatever you'd like to fill your balloons with. The main part of this is just that there is a pair of each thing inside the balloons. So we're gonna play a matching game with these. So you just go ahead and mix them up, and then you let your child feel them and match them with their pair. So you're gonna have 2 bead balloons, 2 flower balloons, 2 water balloons, 2 hair gel balloons. Mix them all together. I did mine so that the colors matched as well. And then you'll just let your child feel them and play the game of matching them together. Next up, we have a classic mini Monet activity, and this is bubble wrap painting. I love this. I think it's super fun because it gives your child a completely new texture to paint on, and you can create some really cool art with it. All you're gonna do is get some bubble wrap, lay it out. You can just roll out the whole roll or give small pieces. You're going to dab some paint on the bubble wrap and let your child play. You can give them a paintbrush to paint on the bubble wrap. You can also give them some paper so that they have some different textures to play with. One of my favorite things to do is to put some paint on the bubble wrap and then fold it in half and let your child go crazy. Use their hands, use their feet. They can also just finger paint all over the bubble wrap. Popping the bubbles when there's paint involved is super messy but very fun. Next up, I think this is my favorite because I had my cat test it out because I don't have a child, but this is my sensory fort or sensory box idea. This is super fun and simple. All you need is an extra large cardboard box that your child can fit into and comfortably sit in, and then just some ribbon or whatever else you want to add. I do think I am very biased because I do love these clips of my cat enjoying the sensory fort. You're just going to take a cardboard box of pretty decent size. You want it big enough so that your child can at least crawl through it. So if you have a baby, this is a little bit easier, but if you have a toddler, you are going to need quite a big box. You're just going to open it up so that it's like a tunnel, or if you'd rather just create the fort, you can just have the big box. You can fill the box with bubble wrap or fabric or felt or anything that's just going to create a different texture inside the box as they crawl through or sit inside. A huge part of this idea is just adding some fabric scraps or ribbon onto the outside of the fort or tunnel. This creates an extra bit of texture for them to crawl through as they are experiencing the sensory box. I had some extra Christmas ribbon that I cut to size, and you can put some holes into the box and double knot the ribbon onto the box. I just used some packing tape that worked just as well, but tying it on would probably give you a little bit more of a secure bond to the box. I don't have a baby or toddler, but I do have a cat, and he did enjoy crawling in and out of the sensory box. Last up, this might be my all-time favorite activity. It's either this or the ice cube paints. I really like these. This is the dish soap and water sensory bin. All you need is water, dish soap, and a hand mixer, or just some elbow power to get the bubbles going. It's a super fun, different activity because it creates so many bubbles, and it's just a really fun texture experience for your child. And then you're gonna get out your hand mixer. You can also whisk by hand as well. They both make bubbles. The hand mixer just does it a little faster. And you're just gonna put your hand mixer all the way to the top or mix it really fast, and you're gonna make a foam sensory bin. I had so much fun playing with this, and I'm a grown-up, so you know your babies and toddlers are absolutely gonna love it. This is super fun to do after you do the water bin because you can also point out the differences between the way different utensils interact with the water versus how they interact with the foam. Those strainers and those spoons with holes in them are gonna pick up the foam better than they do the water. Talk with your child about that. Point out those differences. Those balls that floated in the water, ask them to notice, are they floating in the foam? Point out the differences and encourage them to play with different things in the foam. So those are all of my top 10 favorite sensory activities that I brought you over the past year. Thank you so much if you have been sticking with these videos over the past year. I really, really appreciate it. As usual, if you and your child decide to do any of these activities, please take pictures and tag the library in them. We would absolutely love to see them. I hope that you will register for Virtual Mini Monet. It's going to be a really, really good time. But thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day. Bye.